Hi everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today we are going to see the Maharashtra State Board Class 10 Science and Technology Part 2, in that chapter number 4, Environmental Management. In this particular topic we are going to study about the ecosystem, environment and ecosystem, their relations, conservation of environment and the biodiversity hotspots, environmental management, why it's needed, the need of a conservation of the environment. That all we are going to discuss in this particular topic. First of all, we will talk about the ecosystem quickly. If you will see over here, they have shown the food chain. This food chain already we have studied in the previous standards. Like simply, there are the number of animals, plants, producers, which we call. Then different animals like primary, secondary, and tertiary consumers. We have microorganisms. We have this all collectively together is forming a food web or the food chain, and they all are very important part of the ecosystem. Ecosystem, first we will talk about. Ecosystem is nothing but everything surround to you. Everything. It may be a living thing or the living organism or the non-living things. They all have their own importance. Like we need a food, we need some animals in and around us, which help us to survive in a directly or indirectly way. Along with that, the air, breeze, then the rock, soil, everything is important in our life, and all are having their own importance in the biotic and abiotic factors of the ecosystem. Just now I used two components, that is the abiotic and biotic factors. So for that, they have given over here the chart. Ecosystem, it's divided into two major categories, which we call as a abiotic component and biotic components. So one by one we will discuss. When we talk about the abiotic ecosystem or the abiotic component, so in that we have a non-living things. All the non-living things comes under the category of the abiotic components. This abiotic component is further classified as a physical factor and chemical factor. I'm writing all in a short, you can complete in the details. Physical factors and chemical factors. So now we will go towards the physical factor first. First we will talk about that and then we will come back to the chemical factors. Physical factors, in that we have air, water, vapor, minerals, soil, sunlight. All this are nothing but the physical factors. And these are very important parts or the components in a life of the living organisms. On the other hand, when we'll talk about the chemical factors, in that we have minerals, we have nutrients. This all are nothing but what the under the category of the chemicals, because this minerals and nutrients what is required for the living organisms, or they have their own chemical compositions. Further, this minerals and nutrients what we are having, it's further classified into a two category. One is the inorganic substances and other is the organic substances. This inorganic substances what we have is further classified into the elements or the atoms, like hydrogen, oxygen, nitrogen, calcium, iron, sodium, potassium, means the simple components. On the other side, when we talk about the organic substances, they are further classified as the proteins, carbohydrates, fats, means all the nutrients and the minerals what is required for the living organism. So this is about the abiotic component of the ecosystem. On the other hand, when we'll talk about the biotic factor, this one is nothing but the biotic component. Biotic component is majorly classified into a two category. One is a autotropic and the other is a heterotropic. Other one is a heterotropic. Now, this autotropic is nothing but the producers, and in that we have plants. Autotrophic is further named as the producers of the biotic components of an ecosystem, and they are nothing but the greeneries or the plant in and around us. It may be crops in the field, it may be plants, it may be a tree, anything, whichever is greenery you are observing surround to you, they are the part of the autotrophic biotic component of an ecosystem. On the other hand, when we see about the heterotrophic, is further classified into a two category, that is animals and decomposers. Animals are nothing but the consumers in the ecosystem. They consumes the produces by the plants. Whatever the plants are producing, they that all is consumed by the consumers. In consumers, when we talk about, they are further classified as a primary, secondary, and tertiary consumers. Means the first level, like a grasshoppers, they are eating the greeneries or the grass. Then they are called as a primary consumers. Then grasshopper is eaten by the frog, so frog is a secondary consumer. And then the frog is eaten by the snake and the other animals. Then it's called as the tertiary consumers. Means a different level of the consumers we have. Next, on the other side, when you'll see the heterotrophs, so which is further classified as a decomposition or the decomposers. Decomposition of the living organisms, dead bodies are required, and that work is done by the microorganisms, which comes under the category of the decomposers. So this is complete about the ecosystem, and further when we talk about the relationship between the environment and ecosystem is very much important. Environment is very broad concept. Physical, chemical, and biological factors affecting the living organism in any possible way is collectively called as environment. This is a definition for the environment. You can note it down. Physical, chemical, and biological factors affecting the living organisms in any possible way is collectively called as environment. In short, environment is the condition in surrounding. It includes many biotic, abiotic, natural, and artificial factors. There are two main types of environment. One is natural environment, and other is a artificial environment. Further, natural environment consists of air, atmosphere, means all the natural things whatever we have, and artificial environment what we have is nothing but the other than natural components, whether it is directly or indirectly, it's affecting the natural environment. Further, when we talk about the environmental conservation is another important part. To live healthy on the earth surface, the proper environment is needed, and that's why the conservation is very much important for the environment. Mahatma Gandhi said about it, the earth is sufficient to satisfy everyone's need, but not the greed. It's very important words said by the legendary man, which whom we know as the father of nation, Mahatma Gandhi. He said clearly that Earth is having sufficient on its earth in on the surface. Means everything which is on the earth is sufficient for the humans living on the earth, but it's not for the greed. Means if the greed is increased in the person, then earth will not be sufficient. Otherwise, if whatever the need, the basic needs we have for the humans, that can be completed by the earth. Further, when we talk about this further section, they have given us this particular table. This table as a work for you, this is an assignment for you which you have to complete. air pollution, water pollution, and soil pollution. Components you have to write in and surround to you, and the sources from where this all the waste is coming out or the pollutants are coming out, their effects. Then after the effect, control measures, what the control we can have on this particular type of pollutions, air pollution, water pollution, or soil pollution. What are the control measures? Which kind of a control measures we can take to have a control on this particular type of pollutions? So till here we are going to have in this particular session, and in the next session we will start with the need of environmental conservation, and the environmental conservation our social responsibility. These things we will see in a next part.